How to start thinking positively. If you observe yourself, you will realize that you are not a negative person by nature. There are some behaviors and some habits which affect your thinking to become negative. Your thoughts are affected by your behavior. Changing your behavior is the best way to change the way you think. If you don't believe me, don't try it. If you believe me, try it until you get the results, which you will get eventually because I guarantee it. There are some habits, some so subtle and insignificant habits which affect your thinking to become more negative. And by eliminating these negative patterns of behavior from your life, you will transform into a more positive person by nature. The first thing that you must stop doing to become a more positive person is stop criticizing, complaining, and comparing. These three are cancers of mind. When you see the bad in others, you can't help but see the bad in yourself. On the other hand, when you see the good in others, you can see the best in yourself. It's like changing the lens through which you see the world, which is the same lens through which you see the mirror. How you see the world will be how you see yourself, and how you see yourself will define your thoughts. Tell yourself every day that every person is more good than bad. When we criticize others, we can't help but see the bad in ourselves. On the other hand, when we see the good in others, when we praise others, we can't help but see the good in ourselves. We become more positive when we see the good in others. We are changing the lens through which we see the world, and the lens through which we see the world is the same lens through which we see the mirror. Just understand this ideology and implement it in your own life. You will become a more positive person. Speaking of seeing the good in others, this leads me to my second point, the second habit which will transform you into a positive person, which is gratitude journaling. In my previous video, How to Stop Overthinking, I explained what journal is. If you don't know what a journal is, I will explain it to you quickly. Journal means writing your thoughts down. It's basically talking to yourself with a piece of paper and pen. When you journal, write down 4, 5, 10, as many good things about your life as you can. Things that you are grateful for, things that you are thankful for, things that make you feel blessed. To give you an example, I am grateful for this hairband. I am grateful for this hairband because one, it doesn't let my hair become dry when I go outside. Two, I don't have to care about my hairstyle because instead of using a comb, I can just do this and I don't look as good as I can, but it's okay, it's manageable. So I am grateful for this hairband. I am grateful for this pair of shades which makes me comfortable when I'm in sunlight. I am grateful for this diary which has thick, smooth, and nice papers, and it's where I write everything that's on my mind. Anyways, back to the point. So write down 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, as many good things about your life as you can, and it should force you a little bit to think positively of the negative things of your life. Imagine you had a fight with your sibling and you are thinking negatively of your sibling right now. You are angry at him or her. But there must be things that you are grateful for about your sibling. So write down those good things about your sibling, and this will force your brain to think positively. And if you force your brain to think positively for 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, it will affect your thinking, affect your thoughts for the rest of the days. Now, the third thing that you should do to transform yourself into a more positive person is spend time with the right people. Change your company. I'll share a story. I have a friend who is very humorous and charismatic, and when I used to spend more time with him, I realized that I myself became a more charismatic, more shouting person, which he is too, and I adapted some of his characteristics into myself. I changed when I was spending more time with him in a positive way. On the other hand, there was a time when I didn't have very good friends. I had a very negative friend who used to only complain when he met me about his life, and I noticed that the more time I spend with him, the more negative I become, the more complaining I do. As I talked about it earlier, the lens through which you see the world and the mirror is affected by your company, is affected by the people you spend time with. You might be left all alone if you cut off all negative friends from your life, but you have to zoom out, you have to see the bigger picture. It's not like you will never make friends again. This is the sacrifice that you need to make to become a more positive person. Imagine how much it will benefit you if you made room for more positive people by kicking out the negative ones. You're just removing the negative so that you can let in the positive. But I understand that there are some people who are negative, but you can't just cut them off. It can be your parents, it can be your sibling, it can be your childhood friend, which you can't just cut off immediately. For those irreplaceable people, first thing that you should do is reduce your time that you spend with them. Second, when you are talking to them, they will, like any other negative person, compare, complain, or criticize others. But you have to lead the conversation, you have to take the lead here, and don't let them take the course of the conversation to a negative place. Take lead and add something positive into the conversation. You have to make your own presence more positive. You have to influence them positively. You have to let in positive topics into the conversation so that they can shut their negative mouths. And if you're the one that they are talking negatively about, you have to become a more forgiving person. You have to let go of everything that they say, because holding a grudge against someone who said something negative about you is the quickest way to lose your calm, which you must not want. First of all, you forgive them. Second, because you are doing the other things that make your attitude positive, you will start to remember the good in you. You will start to neglect the negative and embrace the positive. The fourth thing that will transform you into a positive person is zoom out. I will explain it with a scenario. Imagine you have a well paying job and your family depends on you. One night, all of a sudden, you messed up at work. Your boss fired you. you are now jobless and your family depends on you. Now, in that moment, in that zoomed in perspective, you will feel awful, you will feel miserable. You lost your job, your family depends on you. There will be nothing good that comes into your mind. But if you zoom out, if you look at the next 2 months and not the next 2 days, you will realize that there are good things about your life also. You have work experience, you have your skills, you have everything you need to do in order to get a new job. You can make things better. But in that zoomed in perspective, the situation looks so miserable, so bad that you can't think positively. So zoom out, look at the bigger picture. There are good things possible even in the worst of the worst situations. You have to kill your short sightedness and remind yourself that you can make things right just like you always have. So, the next time something bad happens or you are just thinking negatively, remind yourself to zoom out, look at the bigger picture. You have made things right in the past also, and you will eventually make things right this time too. And the fifth thing that will transform you into a more calm and positive person is acceptance and complete ownership. What I mean by that is, whatever your situation is, if you think that you must change something that is out of your control, then you will just end up complaining and think negatively of the situation. Sometimes you have to accept your circumstances for what they are. And let's say someone else did something bad to you. This is to explain complete ownership. Imagine someone else did something wrong to you and you are in a bad place because of them. If you spend time complaining about them, if you spend time thinking negatively of them, you are just killing your own positivity. It's your loss. Take complete ownership of whatever happens to you. Just take complete ownership of your life. Everything that happens to you is something that you have to deal with. Complaining will not solve anything. Accept the unchangeable and change what you can. Take complete ownership of your life. Now I will summarize everything that I've talked about in this video. Number 1, stop criticizing, complaining, and comparing. When you see the bad in others, you can't help but see the bad in yourself. Whereas when you see the good in others, you can see the best in yourself. Number 2, gratitude journaling. Every day, write down at least 3 things that you are grateful for, that you should feel good for. Write down good things about your life every day so that you force your brain to think positively. Number 3, change your company. Cut off every negative person that is in your life, and for those who you can't cut off, develop a deep understanding of their negative feelings, their negative behaviors. Whenever they talk to you, don't let them take the course of the conversation into a negative direction. Take lead and lead the conversation to a positive direction. Number 4, zoom out. Don't stay in that zoomed in short term perspective. Zoom out and see the bigger picture. You will realize that you can make things right just like you always have. Number 5, acceptance and complete ownership. Accept everything that you cannot change instead of complaining, and take complete ownership of whatever happens to you. Instead of complaining and thinking negatively, Start changing your situation if you can, or accept it if you cannot change it. Don't complain, whatever happens. It's almost like a video game. Everything is a skill. Positivity is a skill. You can upgrade it. And if you upgrade it enough, you will become that unkillable, dangerous person who remains positive in every goddamn situation. And that is it for this video. I hope you become a more positive person by implementing these 5 principles in your life. Fall 7 times, rise 8.